It is 24 minutes before the hour, 1 o'clock here on Radio Pulpit, 657 a.m. This is the Wednesday edition of Heart to Heart with me, Bonolo Nkosi, with you till 3 p.m. This afternoon. I saw a question pop up here regarding our conversation earlier. Unfortunately, she has left, but we'll see what we can do in terms of getting you the necessary answer. Right now, though, I've got financial advisor Phumelele Ndumo on the line to chat to us. Certainly looking forward to this conversation because I know that it may be yourself, maybe it may be somebody that you know, a friend, a family member, a neighbor, cousin, who perhaps the employer has had to raise the issue of salary cuts, not because they mean and ungrateful for the great work that you do, but because the reality of the situation is that many a company, unfortunately, not able to operate at the moment and not able to pay what is rightfully due. And so instead of completely doing the we're closing shop, they're rather opting for salary reductions just to survive and to hopefully keep you on board as well. How are you doing, Sis Phumelele?
Hi, Bonolo. I would also like to greet your listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us your time as always. I certainly look forward to our Wednesday conversation. Now, this is a tricky time for most people. What are some things that we need to consider should an employer ask us to take a salary cut?
Yes, Bonolo. In actual fact, quite a number of people have been asked to take salary reductions, and I've sort of done a scan with my customers to find out, what is the range of those salary cuts. Mm-hmm. They seem to be running around between 20-30%, and unfortunately, in some instances, all the way up to 50%.
Sure.
So you can imagine that it's difficult for many people, especially because when you are employed and receiving a salary, mm-hmm. most of us tend to have commitments that are up to their salary level.
Yes.
So suddenly you must now learn to do with less and sometimes much less. Mm. And perhaps I should also caution before I start looking into what, affected people could do. And this is all of us because, you could be asked for a salary cut today.
Yeah.
But you don't know what's going to happen in a couple of months' time because, some companies, as you've seen, they might not even be able to survive after the lockdown.
Sure.
Others are going to close shop completely. So, the future is so uncertain mm-hmm. that we all need to be very careful of how we're spending our money at this point. Mm-hmm. So if you are affected, obviously you need to look at ideally you want to reduce your expenses as much as you can. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to just talk us through what are some of the things that I would suggest on that score.
Yes.
And then wherever possible, try and increase your income as difficult as things are, so on the expense side, and, I'm assuming that people have heard us in the past where we're talking about simple things like visa-wise and all of those things. We've spoken about these things in the past. But today, I think the starting point would be look at your budget.
Yes.
Now, I know that some of us don't even take the time to write out our budget. We don't actually know how we are spending the money that we earn. So this is the time to now really sit down and, if you have never done your budget before, it's about time you start. And if you're already doing your budget, then you need to review your budget. And when you review your budget, you're actually looking for what is a need here and what is a want. Because I think if you've just, incurred a salary cut, mm-hmm. you may just need to, do away with things that are wants and make sure that you can focus and make sure that you can still pay for the things that you need. And if you find yourself, which is very common in South Africa, because we don't have, extensive public transport mm-hmm. network, if you're finding yourself driving to work, I know it's lockdown,
yes.
and many of us at this time are saving a lot on petrol,
yes.
as an example. But generally speaking, we often drive to work, and you find many people, a single person in the car, and sometimes these cars are 4x4s, big cars, and you're on your own driving to work every day. So if that's you and you're driving on your own to work, maybe you need to consider, joining or forming a Lyft club so that you don't have to pay a lot of petrol and other, service costs on your own. And, insurances in general, I joked on Facebook, but I was quite serious to say most of us, the cars are just sitting at home, and we're not driving anywhere, but our insurance costs for car insurance premiums have not reduced accordingly.
That's true.
So there are insurance companies that are now saying you pay according to how often you use your car.
Yeah.
So this is the time to find out, the new generation insurance companies and perhaps consider, using those, because why are you paying the same premium on your car insurance if your car has been parked in your garage for the past, month and above?
Yeah.
So we need to start looking at insurance costs and reducing insurances on our cars. And now some of us, we know South Africans, we generally heavily indebted. Prior to this, most of us, the average South African has been spending over 70% of their income in servicing debt. And most of that debt, is also unsecured debt. So don't run away from your creditors. We all know what's going on. I would suggest that people now approach their creditors and say to them, I've been paying for your personal loan or your credit card or your car loan or whatever it is. I've been paying you, or you require me to pay you 1,500 per month, but I've just suffered a salary cut. Can I therefore reduce your, my monthly repayments for this debt and pay you X amount? I think the chances are they will appreciate that and they will grant that request, because that is better than nothing. The reality is, with all the retrenchments going on, some people are not even able to afford any monthly repayments. So if you are able to afford a little bit, your creditor is likely to be thankful for that. There's just no alternative. So let us negotiate with our creditors in terms of trying to pay less per month than we have been paying in the past. And the difficult thing for those of us who are parents, we now have to ask ourselves the question, can we still afford private school fees?
Sure.
And this is, a difficult time because it's likely to affect your children. But if you ask me, it's been difficult. Think about it. Since, I don't remember the dates now, but since mid-March, if I'm not mistaken, our kids have not been going to school, and yet we are expected to pay school fees, varsity fees, and so forth. Sure. And we need to ask the question, can we, going forward, afford the private school fees? Which is better, to keep your child in a private school when you can't afford, or to start looking at, alternatives for 2021 at least. And then I want to speak about, nice to have. We all need, to provide for nice to have in our budget. I also joked on Facebook and I said most of us should have, saved a lot of money because we can't go anywhere. There are no movies, there is no restaurants, there is no hair salon visits, no spas, nothing. So we should have saved a lot of money. So these are the times now to say which things in my budget are nice to have. If you ask me, this is not the time to be spending on credit cards, for instance, and buying stuff on credit. Because there's an even higher risk that you might not be able to afford the repayments.
Yeah.
Yes. And look at things like gym fees. And these are difficult because, we go to the gym. Gym is not, a nice to have because it keeps us healthy mentally, apart from, managing weight and all of that. So you need to really look at your gym fees. If you were having a national gym membership, maybe this is time now to have a club membership, because you will still save a little bit of money there. The same goes for other nice to have, like your DSTV subscription. Maybe it's time to go compact rather than, the whole suit, and then, things like new cars, I would be very careful at this point, in getting into new cars and all of that. And if you are renting, if you can afford to move elsewhere where the rent is cheaper, that could work for you. If you can't afford a higher rent anymore, and if you happen to be a homeowner and you have spare room that you can let out, I think this is time to consider home sharing.
Sure.
So that, somebody else assists you to pay towards your home loan, because, if you can try and make sure that you don't lose your home, even if it means going the home sharing route for a couple of months or until you are out of this, and no one knows at this point when that will be. These are some of the things that we should be considering. And then I want to talk about what I know is going to be happening. We are going to start receiving consolidated debt with us. Debt review is a solution. So I want then people to really apply their minds, because the basic principle that you should not be borrowing from Peter to pay Paul still applies. Do be aware that if you're going under debt consolidation, you are not paying off your debt. What you are doing is you're taking a loan to pay other debts. And that comes at a cost, because it comes with an interest rate, it comes with initiation costs, and it also comes with what we refer to as credit assurance. So if you ask me, you need to think very carefully about debt consolidation. I'm yet to come across a case where I'll say, yes, this is good for you, go for it.
Sure.
So be very careful, because that is going to be happening. And then I also just want to talk about debt review. Debt review has got its place. But before you go under debt review, there's nothing for mahala. Don't run there. Try first to apply, your mind and, consider what I've just spoken about.
Yes.
And if all else fails, go under debt review, because debt review comes at a cost. Just to remind the listeners, there's about 12,000 rand upfront. 6,000 of that will be for the rehabilitation fee paid to your debt counselor, another 6,000 legal fee, and then we have the monthly ongoing costs, which are about 800 rand, 400 to a system called National Payments Distribution Agency,
Goodness.
And another 400 to your debt counselor. So it is not for me, it is the last resort option. Try everything else. One thing about debt review, which perhaps I should also mention, is that it is only for people who still have a source of income. It is not for people who are retrenched. That is number one.
Yes.
But it does come at a cost. And I have mentioned somewhere in my book, From Debt to Riches, to get the full detail of what I've just spoken about, pages 51 to 55. It's talking about, what we can do to reduce our expenses, and it's also talking about review. So if you want more in-depth information on this, you can find it in that book.
Sure. Okay. Sure. It's quite a lot to consider, but I'm glad that you've gone through it. I know that we've spoken about it before, but for those who may have been listening for the first time today, and they talk, you mentioned, what do you call it? Geyser-wise.
Geyser-wise. Yes.
Geyser-wise, yes, that's what it is.
Geyser-wise.
And somebody might be wondering, what is that? Do you mind just breaking it down, just for those who may have been listening for the first time?
It's something you buy from a hardware shop, which controls. It's like a timer. It controls when your geyser is on, and and most of the time your geyser will be off, and that will then save you electricity because geyser, eats up quite a lot of electricity. So with the Geyser-wise, you can maybe use it to say it must be on. If you normally bath at 7 in the morning, then you can switch it on at 6 and switch it off maybe at 8 and then switch it on again in the evening, so that, at least out of the 24 hours in a day, it is on only for a couple of hours, not 24 hours, a day. And that should assist you to save towards your monthly electricity bill.
Yes, of course, which is the whole idea. All righty. Yeah, thank you so much. And I suppose now would be a good time to start using all of those, what do they call them? Oh, now the phrasing escaped from my mind. But like how you've got different ones for every bank, and different stores. What do you call them? You've got e-bucks, you've got greenbacks, you've got...
Oh, yes.
What are they called again?
Loyalty, bonus points.
Yes, there we
call them.
go. Yes. Loyalty, benefit, points, things. Yes, because those things actually do come in quite handy. So if you're one of those persons who's never considered them, because you're swiping your card anyway, whether you're using whatever Discovery ones or Momentum or insurance or whatever, everybody seems to have one. So find out what if you're already paying those fees, medical aid, whatever the case might be, find out what loyalty benefits your company has, and start making use of those. And it may seem like small change, but it can make a huge difference in the long run. Yeah.
Yes. And Bonolo, can I just, I'm very happy today. I received notice from the publishers that we've just sold over 26,000 copies.
Oh, lovely.
So while you're in lockdown, if you need a book to assist you during this time, I think you will find quite a few tips in that book. In fact, in preparing for this, radio interview today, I just went to the book because I didn't have enough time to think. So I thought, let me just go and check what I said many years ago when I wrote the book.
When it was fresh on your mind.
It's still as applicable today as it was back then. So yeah.
No, that's good to hear. All righty. So I will share the contact details for those who may have more.
I've got them today.
Oh, look at you.
Yes, you reminded me on the email.
Well, then, allow me to ask the question. If people want more information, how can they get a hold of you?
Okay. I would rather we go through Princess because they will be frustrated to try and get hold of me because I'm always, consulting and doing other stuff.
That's fine.
So they can reach us through our office cell phone, which is 064 513 1021, or by email info @tutuka THUTHUKA hyphen as in a manner sign SA for South Africa.co.za.
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much. This has been so good as always. You always give such practical financial tips that really allow us to take stock and make the necessary changes. I don't think anybody can say from a conversation that we've had with you that they didn't learn something that forced them to make some adjustments. So if we're not just hearers but also doers, we will definitely be in good financial state if we apply all that we've been hearing. So we really, really do appreciate it, and have an awesome, awesome rest of the week until we chat again real soon.
Thank you so much, Bonolo. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
That was financial advisor Phumelelo Ndumo there of Tutuka SA, assisting us with some adjustments that we can make in light of, in suppose more cases than not, salary cuts from our employees, because everybody's trying to cope. If you need to text them, WhatsApp them 064-513-1021. Alternatively, you can drop them an email on info@tutuka-sa, I beg your pardon, .co.za.